Hi everyone. I bet you're wondering why we have a candle here and stuffed animals. Kayla, you want to tell everyone?
It's our log bonfire.
And who are these guys?
Our friends.
Our friends joining us for Log Bomer.
Why wouldn't we have our friends? Who else would they be? Would they be a stranger helping us who's really bad?
That's a good point. This is the best we could do for this Log Bomer, for a bonfire and for friends, so that's what we're doing. What does fire have to do with Log Bomer? We know where Log Bomer commemorates that Rabbi Akiva's students stopped dying. That's one piece of Log Bomer, but the fires come from the other piece. It's also the yard site of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, a great sage who tradition tells us wrote the Zohar. Zohar means light, and fire, and mysticism that it all represents. But there's another story about fire with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and that's the famous story of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and his son in the cave, his son Rabbi Elazar. The two of them were on the run from the Roman government, and they hid in a cave. What were they going to eat and drink in the cave? We're told that miraculously there was a carob tree and a spring of water that God put there. But who knows? Maybe they were stuck and they couldn't go shopping, and it all came from Instacart. Now we know the truth. The Gemara tells us it was a miracle, it was from Hashem, and it sustained them for the 12 years in the cave where all they had to do was learn and daven all day long. And when they came out of that cave after 12 years, Eliyahu and Rabbi came and told them that the Roman leader had passed away and the decree was lifted and they could come out. They came out, coming back into the world, and they saw Jews plowing and sowing and planting. And they had become so used to that deep spiritual existence of learning all day long in the cave that they were angry. And everywhere they looked, we're told, was burned up in fire. God punished them, sent them back in the cave for another 12 months. And when they came out this time, Rabbi Elazar, he still, everywhere he looked, was being destroyed, and everywhere afterwards, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai would heal, would save it. And he told his son, enough already. And then they saw an elderly man who was walking and carrying two branches of myrtle, two myrtle branches, some good smelling leaves. And they said, what are you doing with those two branches? And he said, I'm getting them for Shabbat. They said, why do you need two? Isn't one enough? He said, one is for Zachor and one is for Shamor. One is for remember Shabbat and one is for safeguard Shabbat. And they understood there that the physical world, the world that we live in, could also be used in observance of mitzvot, could also be used for good deeds as well. So we remind ourselves, Kayla, on this Lag BaOmer, that even as we celebrate the fire and the mysticism and the deep secrets of the Torah, the world around us, like the fire we're using, and our buddies over here, and don't forget about Mickey, by the way. He loves Lag BaOmer. He's right here. We remind ourselves...
Hey, Mickey, don't slip me.
We remind ourselves that the physical world, the world that we live in, could also be used for good things, for mitzvot. All right, Kayla. Wish everyone a happy Lag BaOmer.
Happy Lag BaOmer Sameach to you too, friends.
Bye.